Hi friends! So this is my first official YouTube video. I've done a few like the speed draws, but I wanted to kind of do one where I talk through my process of different things. So today I'm going to be working on coloring an old illustration, and this one's actually a gift from my sister, so if you're watching, Becca, please don't. This is kind of just a video of my coloring process, how I go through picking colors. I am usually very indecisive, so if you are also very indecisive on your colors, this might help you because I have a few tricks, some color rules that I can kind of rely on if I'm super indecisive or I start getting too many colors in there and they start getting a little jumbled up and it just looks a little too busy and not cohesive. I'll kind of fall back on these simpler rules, and it 99% of the time helps it a lot. So let's jump right in. Gotta figure out how to screen record on here. QuickTime Player. Oh, I think we got it. Okay, here we go. All right, we're good to go. So we got our screen recorded here, and I'm just on Photoshop. I've got all of my swatches of colors here. This is the image I'm working with. It was one I did for the show recently with Nucleus Gallery. And they wanted some postcard images, so I did this one as well as another one of a young girl. If any of you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen it there. So this one here, my sister sent it to me recently and wanted it colored for her bathroom to hang up in there, which I'm very excited about. Actually, now that I think about it, she had sent me colors that she wanted. So let's see what colors she's got going on. So I can get an idea where to start. So I'll go ahead and drag the image here. So these are the colors she's wanting. You know what, let's just drop it into the actual file. You know what we're gonna do, CMYK, since she'll eventually want to print this out, that will make that process a lot better. So got that in CMYK, dropped that in there. So you know what? One thing I like to start with is to get rid of this black. I am not usually a fan of using straight black for the line work. Okay. And then I'll put the color over it. Usually I start with red just to see how that's gonna look. And then I'll set it to screen. Lower that a bit. And you've just got like, it just changes the feel of it. I think it gives it a little extra something to look at rather than just being plain black, which is always fun. You can get a little bit of an interesting vibe if you do overlay instead, but it can start to get a little pixelated or starting to look a little digital if you do that instead of keeping it on screen. That gives it a very accurate representation of the color. Do you see the difference there? Overlay gives it a lot more contrast. So maybe we'll start with that. Okay. I'm gonna put that in another layer. Set that all to multiply, and now we're gonna color underneath all of that. Now let's start with the sky. I'm just gonna use a pencil tool. And what I'll do is I'll outline the area that I want to color with the pencil, because then whenever we select the area, it's straight edges and no pixels. If you can see when you zoom in, do you see that crisp edge right there? That's what you want when you select it. Keep doing that for every bit of the sky. So this is typically how I start my coloring process, is I'll just color sections, or it's also called flats. Typically with flats, you could just choose random colors and it doesn't have to be the actual colors that you're gonna use. But for this, I like to start with kind of like an idea of the colors I'm gonna use, and I end up changing them later anyways, but that's always fun. So now I've got a color just laid down there for the sky, and maybe we'll be good here and name our labels. Label our layers. That's what I meant to say. I'm not gonna pretend I normally do that, but I would recommend it if you want to be a little stressed later on. Okay, so we got the sky there. Add a little bit of green to it. So something I like to do is I'll change the opacity of my paint bucket down a lot, and then I could just kind of add a little bit of a green to that. See that? Right there. It's kind of like mixing paints. Like I just want like a little bit of percentage of green in there. So now let's get to the skin. Let's go with a slightly more yellow tint to kind of match what one of my favorite things to do whenever I'm doing a drawing with a person and a sky in the background is to make the majority of the background cool colored and then make the person warm in the front, and that really creates a contrast between the two, makes the subject of the image pop a lot. So let's go to do that. Okay, this is gonna probably look a little yellow to start with. One thing that helps a lot with my colors too, I feel like, is just having a really good base, the drawing underneath. I love contrast between the light and the darks. And a really dark pencil helps with that. Doing some effects whenever you put it into Photoshop helps a lot with that. Maybe I can make a video on that later on. That's good for now. I'm trying to remember what color this bird was in the reference photo I used. Maybe we'll just have to make up a color because I don't know where that photo went. Okay, I'm just gonna paste a color now. Alright, now we're looking like an Oompa Loompa. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's it. Okay, let's stick for that for now. I don't know, I kind of like the yellow too. I don't know about you guys. Okay. Let's go in, give the bird some color. Perfect. Okay, let's do my favorite part. Red into the cheeks. We're gonna go back to our regular brush here. I like to just grab just whatever the soft round pressure. Use this pressure button here. I start with a plain red. Sometimes I'll make it more orange or less, depending on what I'm going for. I'm gonna take this color. Since I grabbed it from the photo, it's looking a little dull, so we're just gonna give it a little more saturation. And add some highlights onto this side. That's white. Okay. There we go. A little bit on the top of the head. What I might do with this color is give it a little more of an orange tint to match the low vibes. We were looking a tad incohesive, is that the right word? And one of my favorite ways to fix that is to use one of each primary color in the image and nothing more than that, because then you tend to get too many colors in there. It's better to have too few than too many colors. Simplified always gives more of a pop sometimes. So we're just gonna stick with this kind of a sky. To give a nice gradient in the sky. One of the main things I like to follow in my illustration when I'm feeling overwhelmed by all the color choices, and this one was pretty simple because there were only a few things to color, but I like to follow the rules of the primary colors. So try to get a yellow, a red, and a blue in there. The blue can be more of a green like in this situation. That really helps to simplify it. Another way is to stick to just two colors. Have one be a spot color. Always pull from other colors in the illustration if you have something new to color. So like the bird's wing, for instance, I pulled that yellow from the hair because that was already in the illustration. And that just helps kind of bring it together to try not to introduce too many new colors into it. Try to use what you've already got in there, and that really helps. But to stick with those three primary colors is a great way to start if you just don't know what colors to use. And then again, that whole trick of keeping cool colors in the background, blues and purples, and bringing warm colors to the foreground, like with our character here. Alright, we're back after like 30 minutes. I got really indecisive on the colors. Big shocker. So I wanted to show you guys what I did because I didn't record the process of finishing these colors. So I kind of want to show you the adjustments I made from the last little bit I showed you. So I took out some of the general warmness in the image, which was this layer here. I had it set to multiply before, which as you can just see, it darkened it just a tiny bit too much. So we're gonna set it to darken instead, which doesn't make sense because that, anyways. So we're gonna set it to darken. I added this red layer to screen. I'm kind of liking it without it though. We'll leave it without it for now. Maybe we'll add this yellow instead because I still wanted it to match these curtains here in my sister's bathroom. So we might leave that off. Here we are. I'm gonna go ahead and add some white just to match those curtains for the sake of the image for my sister that I'm gonna print out. I'm gonna add this white here, but for the most part, I'm gonna leave it as it just was before this with the off-white. Plus, I mean, this isn't bad. It kind of helps the clouds to pop, which is nice. Let's get some of these clouds too. And I think I'm gonna call that good. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, learned a little bit about colors. Hopefully on the next one I'll make a little more sense, make it a little more easy to follow. Some kind of ideas for other videos I have, or like how to set up a file like this, taking a pencil drawing and putting it into Photoshop, and the ways I edit it before coloring it. Just some drawing tips too, how to draw from photographs or how to draw facial expressions. It's one of my favorite things. So if you guys have any requests, suggestions for videos, leave them down in the comments and I will read through them. Go over to my Instagram, leave some in the comments there. Subscribe if you'd like for more videos. I will see you guys next time. Bye!